Hello from Cheyenne Mountain Zoo. I am Emma, the membership manager here at Cheyenne Mountain Zoo. Welcome to our Abnormally Normal series. These are definitely abnormal times, but we want to bring you the knowledge that we are doing things as normal here at the zoo, including daily care, training, and enrichment with our animals. We are embracing this abnormally normal time, though we miss all of our guests and members. And we want to keep bringing you some creative, amazing social content like this. So today we're going to be sketching for your moment of creative CM Zoo Zen moments. So hashtag CM Zoo Zen. We're going to be trying to do some sketching, and we're going to be sketching wonderful girl George here, our veiled chameleon. I love drawing as a calming activity because it just helps me focus a little bit, bring it down, and I love the fact that it's so accessible to everybody. So all you need today to draw along with me is a piece of paper, a pencil, and an eraser. We do also have a coloring sheet we're going to be sharing in the comments. So if you prefer to color, we'll be doing that a little bit later. Feel free to download and print that up as well. So if you're ready, let's get sketching. Come around. I'm going to get very distracted by how adorable she is. This is also Bailey. She's the lead keeper here. We are live, so you can ask any questions, and we will try to answer as many as possible. So go for it. The thing that I think most people are intimidated by when it comes to art is not knowing where to start. So I'm going to hopefully show you how to start some of your sketching, because that's obviously the place you want to be. So when you start sketching, you want to find some lines you can follow. With Girl George, there are a few obvious lines. We've got this line here and a couple across that will kind of give you a frame of where you're going to be going with this drawing. So, and I sketch really lightly at first, but just know with pencil, there's always space for you to mess up and erase and fix and change. So as you can see, I'm following some of these lines, and what these lines are going to do are they're going to give me reference for her wonderful face, which you can see right here. I'm trying really hard not just to watch her. So I'm going to start up here. What is this called, Bailey?
A cask.
I'm starting with her cask. And you will find that when drawing a chameleon, it looks an awful lot like a whale at first, so don't be alarmed if it looks like you're drawing a sea creature instead. I drew this a couple of times yesterday, one because I'm a cheater, but also because I wanted to practice, and I realized she came out looking a lot like a whale a lot of the time. So as you can see, I'm just really roughly sketching some of her, I'm going to try not to go too fast, some of her lines, and I'm using this as my reference so I know where I'm going. Her adorable, I call them paws, that's not what we call them, Bailey. Just her feet. Yeah. Her feet. And so this is where you would start to decide what you want to do. If you want to create an outline, this is a great place to start. Again, this is going to be in the comments for you to download and color yourself. But you can decide if you're a little overwhelmed by starting everywhere. I would start maybe with the eyeball, because that's one of the noticeable things, characteristics of her. And an art teacher in college once told me, this is going to look awful, so hopefully you'll be kind in your comments. An art teacher once told me not to draw the shapes, but maybe the shadows. And so I might just start by seeing all of her lovely wrinkles here around her eyes and trying to recreate some of those. And I am going to be a cheater and pull out my coloring sheet here in a little bit, but I would just start by doing that. And then you can sort of show her crowned area here. I'm going to call it a crown because she's the queen. And the great thing about art is you don't really have to focus on all of the details. You can see there's a lot of texture here that can be overwhelming. I would focus on shadow and light, and that just gives me a place to go. So if you start by doing above her eye, yeah, can't see. Let me get over here. Hopefully you can see it better. Please let us know. I will try to make it darker. Like I said, I tend to start light so I can darken where I need to. And again, pencil is super forgiving, so you can always just fix. And I would just start by drawing all of her wonderful wrinkles. We don't call them wrinkles though. I mean, we would, but I don't want to insult her.
Will you ask them to let us know if they can see the sketch better?
Can you see, if you guys could let us know, could you see this, can you see the sketch better now that we've moved the camera? And just let us know in the comments. And so you can kind of see it's taking form. Again, I'm going to use basically shadow and light. Instead of drawing the shapes, I'm just going to use the guideline of the shadow and light to show me what I should be focusing on. And hopefully at the end of this, it ends up looking like a chameleon eye rather than the shape of a chameleon eye, which is an important difference.
Adeline says hi.
Hi. Hello. Thank you for joining. And so, as you can tell, I am not attempting at all to draw the entire chameleon right now. I am focusing on just a few things at a time. And this is why drawing is so relaxing for me, because I can do that. And if you're intimidated again at all, you can start to focus on little things like maybe some of her pattern here, which is almost, someone told me the other day, it's almost reticulated, which is kind of cool. So you don't even have to look at it. You can maybe look at it for reference, but start just drawing the patterns of the scale. And again, later you would go in and shade these, so you might make it a little bit darker here. And you're not really outlining it, but you're finding shadow and light to make it look a little more in depth. And obviously, I chose a black and white photo. Those are sometimes easier to use as guidelines, but you can do whatever you'd like. And we will be drawing a little bit later, or coloring, sorry, a little bit later. So you will see some of those techniques too.
We've got a couple questions.
About
Girl George.
Yeah.
Let me move over
I'll
to her
stop
for a
talking.
second. Where is Girl George? Where's her species native to?
The Arabian Peninsula.
They can't hear Bailey. Emma?
They're from the Arabian Peninsula.
And how fast do their tongues go?
I don't know the exact amount of speed,
How
but we do know that it's the fastest muscle in the animal kingdom.
So their tongue is the fastest muscle in the animal kingdom, if you didn't hear that the first time, which is pretty impressive.
Can you remind them that the sheet to download
Yes,
is in the comments?
the sheet to download to color, this one here, is in the comments. And if I were focusing on the outline, like I did for this drawing, I wouldn't be doing as much detail, but I kind of want to show you how I go about drawing little details so that I don't overwhelm myself with an entire photo. I would also say something like this with a lot of texture around her eyes. I am almost doing little scribblies to give it a little more depth and texture than it might have if I just did shading. If I were to do some of this, I'd probably do it, I really like charcoal as a medium as well as pencil, and charcoal is super forgiving. You can just erase little light areas if you're trying to bring up these spots here.
They're
all right.
asking, what are you feeding Girl George?
She's getting crickets today.
Today, Girl George is getting crickets, which she loves. She's staying really still, which I was told she may not do, so I'm impressed. Whatever we're giving her is working.
She's obsessed with the pencil. That's why she's
Oh, really?
She's obsessed with my pencil, which is awesome. So I think it's also important to remember that drawing is not meant for perfection. So this probably doesn't look exactly like you would expect it to for someone to be drawing and giving you a lesson. But we don't look for perfection. I don't, at least. This is something that I do to sort of calm myself down, give myself some Zen moments. It's also, you know, really just for fun, not really for perfection.
Oh, apparently we're having technical difficulties with the coloring page, so it'll be available shortly. If
Okay.
we can't get it in the comments, we'll post it separately.
Okay, so we are having technical difficulties. We will post the coloring sheet separately. if we can't fix it. And I can actually, if you'd like, show you some things here as we're waiting for that. I don't know if there's, okay. I just want to show you here that you can focus on, I focused on a little piece of her chin here for just a few minutes, or just her eyeball, just her scales. You can do all kinds of things with pictures of animals, so don't be intimidated if you don't think you can draw an entire face, for instance. So this is our awesome coloring sheet, which we will get up soon. And I just wanted to show you this because there are lots of fun ways you can actually color her because of all this wonderful texture. So I just have really high-tech coloring markers. And what I was doing earlier was focusing on the dots. So I was just sort of doing this and dot working, which is fun for kids, I think. Any kids can do this. You can even do multiple at a time to get some texture in there. You obviously have to do a little bit more if you're doing this, but it's really fun because it's a super simple way to bring in texture. And you don't have to do green at all. She obviously changes her colors, so you can do pinks and blues, whatever colors you want to do. She has an awesome tongue. She has some green on the bottom of her spikes, so I might start there. And as you can see, my picture, I apologize, is black and white, but you can see the lines on her, oh, she's sticking it out for me. The lines underneath her mouth are a little bit darker, so I might focus on that in here and do some layering of color. So maybe I can see a little black, a little brown in there, and I'm just focusing on whatever colors I can see, creating a little bit of texture and depth with different types of colors. Again, we are not going for perfection here, so you can just color her any way you like. But this was fun for me because it sort of forced me to slow down and do dots and draw textures. I did this morning. I'm probably going to do this every day for the rest of my life with this one picture because it's really fun to figure out how you can make her look like she's got texture with regular old markers. If anyone has any other questions, feel free to ask. And hopefully this coloring sheet will be up soon. I would love it if you guys could share your coloring with us, so we know that we're bringing you some cool moments of Zen and you trusted me as your lovely art teacher today. Even this, she's got some brown on her eyes, so I would probably color this in above her eyes. And just everything I do, if you notice, I use really small moments or movements to kind of get what I'm going for, because I can layer on those, and so I often suggest doing that as well in shading or coloring, because you can always change it if you have a little bit. Can't change it if you've used too much. But then you get a little more depth in there. Hey girl, do you like your picture, maybe? And of course, you can just color as well. Any other facts you want to share, Bailey?
Chameleons change color based on their mood.
Chameleons change color based on their mood. What does green mean? Is she calm right now?
That's her happy color.
Oh.
So when she gets those spots along her back,
Yep.
that means she's starting to get full too.
Oh, so the spots on her back mean she's full, and green is her happy color, in case anyone was wondering. Yep.
Can you talk about her hands? How does she use them? Are they able to grasp onto things? And I'll try to get really close so you can see her,
Yeah.
her feet.
So they have pretty great grip. Obviously, they use their hands all the time to hold on to everything. The cool thing about their toes, if you can see her toes, is that they alternate. So she has 5 fingers on her front feet and her back feet, but her front feet have 3 fingers on the inside, 2 on the outside, and then it's opposite on the back feet.
So she has 5 fingers on each of her hands. There's 2 on the front feet. There's 2 fingers on the front and 3 on the back. And then on her back feet, there's 3 on the front and 2 on the back. Opposite of that? Okay, the opposite of what I just said. But basically, she has 5. They have a great grip. Obviously, they use their hands a lot. Hands, fingers. I like the little, she does have little claws. Do those keep growing or?
No, she keeps her nails pretty well trimmed.
Oh, and is that natural? She
Yeah.
keeps them trimmed naturally?
She's getting full.
She's getting full, apparently. I don't know how long we can keep her still if that's the case.
What's the fine looking
great.
thing on her head? Maybe it's her, what's it called, cast?
The
She
cask?
has a cask, and then if they're talking about the ridges, maybe her ridges do change color, so that darker black color means she's getting full too.
So the cask on her head is what looks like in this picture a dorsal fin, and the ridges on her back, the very fine ridges on her back, change color as well, and that means she's getting full. Oh,
How old is she?
We don't know, we adopted her.
we don't know how old she is. We adopted her, if you didn't hear that. Why is her name Girl George?
So we originally named her Boy George after the song,
Yep.
and then she surprised us with some eggs.
So we originally named her Boy George after the song, and she surprised us with some eggs. Realized she wasn't a boy.
Are chameleons endangered?
Not this species of chameleon.
This species of chameleon is not endangered.
Does she use her tongue to groom herself like a cat or a dog, or just to eat?
Just for eating.
She uses her tongue only to eat and not to groom herself at all.
Yes, she does eat live crickets.
And she does eat live crickets, yes. What's happening to her tail, Bailey?
She is shedding.
And how long, so she is shedding right now, how long will it take for that to come off?
It's variable, so because she's a lizard, she sheds in pieces, unlike a snake, which would shed its entire body at the same time.
Oh, okay, so I didn't know this. Lizards shed in pieces, so she doesn't shed her whole body at the same time. She sheds it in different times. So as you can see, this is taking me a really long time, which is why it's a Zen moment. You can obviously stop and start wherever you'd like with something like this. I am, of course, taking the slow route because I'm interested in all of the texture. You do not have to do this at all.
What other colors does she turn, and do we know why?
She can turn a really dark brown or black when she's mad. We've
She
never
t-
seen it though.
She turns a really dark brown or black when she's mad, but we've never seen that.
She gets sometimes a little bit of a yellow color to her when she's excited.
When she's excited, she'll get a yellowish color to her. Has she ever gone like pink or blue?
No, so that's a different type of chameleon
Oh.
that would turn pink and blue. That would be a panther chameleon.
Panther chameleon. All right. So I want to thank you for joining me in this moment of ZMZoo Zen. I don't typically get to do things like this, so I appreciate you joining me. I hope I helped you in starting your love for drawing and giving you a Zen moment, and I hope you all stay warm. Thank you from Cheyenne Mountain Zoo.